The horrific rush hour crash in Washington, D.C. The death toll now stands at 9, with scores of others injured. It is the worst accident in the 33-year history of Washington's subway system. CBS News transportation correspondent Nancy Cortez is at the crash site with the latest. And good morning to you, Nancy.
Good morning, Lara. That death toll did rise to 9 overnight after search crews with cadaver dogs found 3 more bodies in the wreckage of the trains behind me. They say they're not ruling out the possibility that the death toll will continue to rise. And then there are the injured passengers, roughly 70 at last count.
The collision left train cars sandwiched and splintered, terrorizing rush hour commuters on their way home from work. According to Metro officials, one 6-car train was stopped, waiting for a train ahead of it to clear a station, when another 6-car train barreled into it. With such force, the first 2 cars were foisted up into the air.
The scene is as horrific as you can imagine. Literally, one car of the train almost squeezed completely together.
The train tracks were inaccessible to emergency vehicles, so rescue crews had to carry the most severely wounded out by foot to waiting ambulances and helicopters. Those with minor injuries were loaded onto buses and driven to local hospitals.
When people tried to get out of the train through windows that couldn't open and trying to find emergency latches, people were cussing. Some people were just sitting there.
There is an automated computer system that is supposed to keep these trains a safe distance apart. The NTSB will be looking at whether the system was working. If not, why not? They'll also be looking at the possibility of signal error, of operator error. This was a relatively new operator. She had only been running trains for a few months, and visibility should not have been a problem. It was a clear day, just like today. The trains were above ground, and this was a straightaway. They really should have been able to see each other. Harry.
Nancy Cortez on the scene there this morning. Thank you very, very much. We're going to talk to someone from the NTSB in just a second. Joining us now are 2 survivors of the crash, TIJUANA Cox and Maya Marotta. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
TIJUANA, let me start with you. Did you have a sense of how fast this train was? The train slowing down? Did you have a sense that this train was nearing the station?
My train was the train that was stopped. I was in the last cart, the cart that the train is on top, the second train is on top of. So we were at a halt.
So
we wasn't moving at the time.
All right. So you're in the train that gets hit. Maya, which train were you in?
I was in the train that was moving, and no, it didn't feel like there was any sort of slowdown. It felt like we hit it full force. I didn't feel any braking. It was just a very severe impact. I felt like we'd either hit a car or a bus or another train. People were thrown out of their seats. So,
Maya, as this collision happens, what was it like inside your train car?
Inside of my train car, it was, everyone was just shocked as soon as it happened. There was an older lady who fell out of her seat and she was on the ground. I was out of my seat. I didn't fall onto the ground, but, it's a little bit of panic, but it wasn't anything. No one was screaming or losing control. But we kind of kept calm, but we didn't have any instructions as far as what to do.
Of course. TIJUANA, what about in your car?
My car, I think we took, other than the cart that was on top of us, we took the most of the crash. Everybody was just frantic. We wasn't sure what had happened, so everybody just panicked and kind of got up to check and make sure we were all okay. And it was no bleeding or anything. We could just smell the smoke from the second train. Somebody actually opened the door and jumped out, and that's when I was the first one to notice that the train was on top of us. So I just told everybody what was happening. And so we decided on our own to open the door and go to the cart in front of us, so in case the train came down on top of our train even further.
TIJUANA and Maya, do both of you feel lucky to be alive this morning?
Oh, absolutely. Feel very lucky, and my heart goes out to all those who lost their lives and their families this morning.
I feel extremely blessed because it could have been worse than what it was, for me at least.
The thing to endure. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. All right, you take care.